History often teaches us how dictators rise to power. But perhaps that is not the most difficult question. The real mystery is something far more unsettling. How does an entire nation allow one man to keep absolute power? How can millions of ordinary people witness the gradual disappearance of freedom and still continue with their daily lives? At what point does obedience become complicity? Can a dictatorship survive through fear alone? Or does it also require hope, trust, and even admiration? If propaganda can change what people believe, if laws can be used to destroy democracy, if education can influence an entire generation, where does power truly come from? Adolf Hitler did not simply seize the control of Germany. He built an entire system capable of influencing what they heard, what they saw, what they feared, what they learned, and lastly, what they believed. Between 1933 and 1945, Germany became one of the history's most powerful totalitarian states. But here's the point. No dictatorship survives by accident. This documentary argues that Adolf Hitler maintained power not through fear alone, but by combining legal methods, political violence, propaganda, and public support into a system in which each method reinforced the other.
Plans, Germany in 1933 did not appear to be on the verge of becoming a dictatorship. People went to work, children attended at school, newspapers were printed every morning, and democratic institutions were still in place. Yet beneath this appearance of normality, Germany was experiencing one of the deepest political and economic crises in its history. The defeat in the First World War, the harsh terms of the Treaty of Versailles, and the devastating effects of the Great Depression had left millions of Germans unemployed, frustrated, and increasingly disillusioned with the Weimar Republic. As confidence in democracy declined, many Germans began searching for a leader who promised decisive action and national recovery.
Adolf Hitler presented himself as a leader. He promised to restore Germany's economy, rebuild national pride, and bring stability to a country that had experienced years of political instability and economic hardship. For many Germans, he appeared to offer hope. But the question is not why he came to power. The real question is how he transformed that opportunity into 12 years of absolute power. That's the question this documentary seeks to answer.
On January 30 of 1933, the President Paul von Hindenburg appointed Adolf Hitler as the Chancellor of Germany through the country's constitutional process. Contrary to popular belief, this didn't make Hitler a dictator. Germany remained a democracy. The Weimar Constitution was still in force, opposition parties continued to exist, and President Hindenburg retained the authority to dismiss the Chancellor if it's necessary. Many conservative politicians believed that they could control Hitler and use his popularity to stabilize the country, without allowing him to dominate the government. They underestimate both his political skills and his ambitions.
They believed they had appointed a chancellor. Instead, they had opened the door to a dictatorship.
Hitler understood that winning office was only the first step. Maintaining power required sometimes far more ambitious, removing every constitutional, political, and social institution capable of limiting his authority. Rather than overthrow the democratic system through a military coup, Hitler began dismantling it from within, using the very law and institutions that were meant to protect it. Now, he needed the perfect opportunity to convince Germany that extraordinary powers were necessary. That opportunity arrived less than 1 month later.
The Reichstag fire became one of the greatest opportunities Hitler ever received.
On February 27, 1933, Germany's parliament building burst into flames. A Dutch communist, Marinus van der Lubbe, was arrested at the scene and confessed to setting the fire. Although historians continue to debate whether he acted alone or whether the Nazis were involved. One fact is beyond dispute. Hitler immediately transformed the crisis into a political weapon.
Claiming that Germany was facing a communist revolution, Hitler pursued President Hindenburg to sign the Reichstag fire decrees on the following day. The decree suspended fundamental civil liberties, including freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of assembly, and the protection against the arbitrary arrest. For the first time, the Nazi government could imprison political opponents without trial and suppress criticism under the justifications of protecting security.
The decree was presented as a temporary emergency measure. In reality, it fundamentally changed Germany's political landscape. Thousands of communists, socialists, and opponents were arrested, leaving the Nazi Party with far less resources and outside parliament. Fear had become one of the political instruments.
The atmosphere created by the Reichstag fire made it possible for Hitler to secure support of the Enabling Act, passed on March 23 in 1933. This law granted Hitler's cabinet the authority to pass laws without parliamentary approval, even when those laws violated the German constitution. It effectively removed the system of checks and balances that had delimited executive power, allowing Hitler to govern by decree. Rather than destroying democracy overnight, he dismantled it step by step. The Reichstag fire did not make Hitler a dictator by itself, but it gave him the legal and political opportunity to become one. The Enabling Act marked a turning point in German history. With Parliament no longer able to limit his decisions, Hitler moved quickly to eliminate every institution that could change his authority. What had begun as a democracy was now becoming a dictatorship through legal means.
Over the following months, opposition parties were systematically dissolved or banned. On July 14, 1933, the Nazi Party became the only legal political party in Germany. Citizens could no longer choose between different political movements because no alternatives were allowed to exist. Democracy had effectively disappeared.
Hitler also targeted independent organizations that could influence public opinion. The trade unions were dissolved and replaced by the German Labor Front, an organization completely controlled by the Nazi government. State governments lost their autonomy as power became increasingly centralized in Berlin. Even newspapers, cultural institutions, and public organizations were brought under the Nazi control. This whole process was known as the Gleichschaltung, that is also known as coordination.
Its purpose was to bring every aspect of German society, including politics, education, culture, the economy, and regional government, under the Nazi control. By eliminating political competition and ensuring that every major institution answered to his government, Hitler created a system in which organized opposition became almost impossible. Power was no longer shared, and it was concentrated in the hand of one man.
Laws alone were not enough to secure Hitler's rule. Fear would become another essential weapon. Those who refused to obey would soon discover the consequences. By 1934, Hitler had destroyed Germany's democratic institutions, but his position was still not very secure. One of the greatest threats came from within his own movement, the Sturmabteilung, that is better known as the SA, or Brown Shirts. The SA was a paramilitary organization that helped Hitler rise to power by intimidating political opponents, breaking up opposition meetings, and using violence to spread fear throughout Germany. Led by Ernst Röhm, the organization had grown more than 3 million members, making it even larger than the German army.
Röhm believed the SA should replace the German army as the country's main military force. This alarmed the military leaders whose support Hitler still depend on. At the same time, Röhm's growing influence made Hitler fear that the SA could eventually challenge his own authority. To maintain complete control, Hitler decided that even his closest allies could become expendable.
Between June 3 and July 2 of 1934, Hitler launched a purge called the Night of the Long Knives. The operation was carried out by the SS or Schutzstaffel, an elite paramilitary organization commanded by Heinrich Himmler. The SS was originally created as Hitler's personal bodyguard, but it had evolved into a disciplined and highly organized force whose primary mission was to protect the Nazi regime and eliminate its enemies. During the purge, the SS arrested and executed Ernst Röhm, dozens of senior SA leaders, and many individuals whom Hitler considered a threat. Most were never given a trial. Their fate was decided only by Hitler.
Hitler justified the killing by claiming that he had prevented an anti-coup against the government. Many Germans accept this explanation, while the German army welcomed the destruction of the SA's leadership. Shortly afterward, military leaders claimed their loyalty to Hitler. The Night of the Long Knives sent a powerful message: no one has beyond Hitler's reach. Whether they were political opponents, military leaders, or ever long-time members of the Nazi Party, anyone who treated his authority would be removed without warning. By replacing the powerful SA with the completely loyal SS, Hitler eliminated one of the last internal threats of his rule and strayed his ability to maintain absolute power.
Following the Night of the Long Knives, the SS became one of the most important organizations in Nazi Germany. Under the leadership of Heinrich Himmler, it expanded far beyond its original role as Hitler's personal bodyguard. The SS controlled the concentration camp system, enforced Nazi racial policies, and protected the regime from both real and perceived enemies. And the most important thing, its loyalty belonged exclusively to Hitler.
Alongside the SS operated the Gestapo, Germany's secret state police. Unlike a regular military police force, the Gestapo focused on identifying and eliminating anyone suspect of opposing the Nazi regime. Citizens could be arrested without a warrant, imprisoned without trial, and interrogated without a legal protection. Many investigations began with anonymous reports from neighbors, co-workers, or even family members.
The fear created by the SS and the Gestapo extended far beyond of those who were arrested. Ordinary Germans never knew who will listen to them or who will report them. As a result, many of those Germans choose to remain silent more than risk punishment. This atmosphere of constant surveillance discouraged resistance before even it could start.
Terror became one of the most effective Hitler methods of maintaining power. The regime no longer relied only on law or propaganda, it relied on fear. By making the consequence of opposition both serve and operable, Hitler ensured that organized resistance remained extremely limited. For millions of Germans, obedience was no longer simply expected, it became a matter of survival.
Hitler did not maintain power through a single method. His dictatorship was built on a combination of legal manipulation, political repression, fear, and propaganda. He exploited national crises to expand his authority, dismantled democratic institutions through the Enabling Act, eliminated both political opponents and rivals within his own party, and created organizations such as the SS and the Gestapo to suppress resistance. At the same time, propaganda encouraged millions of Germans to view him not as a dictator, but as a leader who had restored Germany's strength and national pride.
Historians continue debating which of these methods was the most important one. Ian Kershaw, however, emphasized Hitler's personal authority and the cult of personality surrounding him, arguing that many officials acted to fulfill what they believed were Hitler's wishes, further straining his control.
Although historians may disagree on which factor mattered most, they agree on one essential point. Hitler did not rely solely on violence or popularity. Instead, he combined multiple methods that reinforced one another. Fear discouraged resistance. Propaganda shaped public opinion. Laws removed the democratic limits. Together, these methods allow him to transform Germany into a totalitarian state and remain in power for 12 years.
Hitler's dictatorship demonstrates how democracy can gradually disappear when political institutions are weak, civil leaders are arrested, and power became concerned in the hands of one single leader. Understanding the method he used to maintain power, it is not only essential to study history, it is also remind us why democratic institutions, the rule of law, and fundamental rights must be always protected.